Hey, you guys. So, what's going on with health in this country? I just heard a statistic that, like something like 51% of 12-year-olds in this country are diagnosed as obese or overweight. And I think the statistics are even worse for adults. So, it was around maybe 20 years ago in the gym where I had kind of already been thinking this way, but I heard someone put into words what I was thinking. And that was that the best way to be healthy is to do everything you can to stay out of the doctor's office. By the time you've gone to the doctor's office here in this wonderful country of America, you're already behind the 8 ball. Because if you need to go to the doctor for a medical issue, the West, everyone knows and everyone says the West is really, really good at just putting Band-Aids over, like, okay, broken arms, they're good at that. Broken legs, they're good with that. But so far as like diabetes or, just about any problem, it's just medication. And that never goes to the root of the problem, to fix what the root of the problem is. For instance, I heard on Russell Brand's channel, he interviewed some health official or really knowledgeable guy regarding the policies here in the States and all the terrible rates of diabetes and things of this nature. He said they're coming out with a brand new drug, Olesta or something like that. It kind of sounds like that non-fat stuff they used to put in potato chips. But anyways, I know I got the name wrong, but what it is it's a drug that needs to be poked in your arm to fight obesity. But then from that point on, you need to get this shot regularly for the rest of your life. So that, we live in a capitalist society and everything's about the bottom dollar. So if they can, so basically the health, the medical field is in alignment with the food production in this country. And the food production is all about processing food, getting the biggest yield they can from, say, wheat products, and then putting in a bunch of extra stuff to make it last long on the shelf. So one, producing as much as possible through genetic modification, and then two, shelf life through a bunch of preservatives. None of that stuff is good for us. It's all bad for us. So we really, if we're concerned about our health and we want to do things preemptively that keep us out of the doctor's offices, we need to eat as little processed food as possible. The vast majority of us have known this for decades, right? 20, 30 years or more. Because all you have to do is look at just a simple bag of crackers and look at it's like a full paragraph, the ingredients, when it should just basically be, like there's two types of potato chips that only has 3 ingredients. Lay's potato chips, just standard potato chips, and Fritos, not the barbecue flavor or any, just the standard Frito-Lays. And just all it has is one has potato, the other has corn, but then other than that, it's just oil, like, whatever kind of oil they use, and salt. That's what all potato chips should be, So I used to only eat those 2 types of potato chips because of that. I used to never drink Coke. I used to avoid refined sugar like the plague. But, when I'd already started losing my focus on working out and health when COVID hit. But then when COVID hit, I got so interested in following politics and getting deeper into my faith, so reading the Bible and studying stuff like that I stopped following the Dodgers. First thing in the morning when I'd be walking my dog every morning was I'd read Dodgers.com, read every article on there. And then I'd even go to the opposing teams' websites and read their articles, like the next game that was that day or the next day, and I'd read their articles. And it was fun because I became so knowledgeable that when I would go to a Dodger game, or I had some friends at work that followed Dodgers, you could really go into detail, and almost no one could bring anything up that you weren't already well versed in. And it just made for a lot of camaraderie with people, and a lot of really, really in-depth and fun conversations. But I mean, it's a game, it's like Little League. It's really no different, except you're at the professional level with all of these big contracts and things like that. So I eat fast food, I drink Coca-Cola, and just every month just getting a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger. And then, so, it was around maybe 2 or 3 months ago that I started going, okay, no more Coke. Okay, no more fast food. Okay, I'm going to watch sugar closely again. I'm going to avoid potato chips. And I wasn't getting any thinner at all. So I go on YouTube and I watch some videos, and they talk about having a fatty liver. More than most adults in America have a fatty liver. And shortly thereafter, you become insulin resistance, which is the first stage before diabetes, and so it's just a pathway that most adult Americans have traveled. And then what do? Once they get diabetes, they go and they get dialysis and medication and so on and so forth. So the best way to reverse that is like within 1 week of fasting, drinking water with lemon juice in it and some apple cider vinegar, you can literally within 1 week greatly reduce even most of the fat that's in your liver. And then all of a sudden your liver is able to function much, much better. And then in your kidneys, you remove that bile that's in there that's really old. And cholesterol is what is used to make the bile in your kidneys. And so then cholesterol becomes something you want. You want high cholesterol because you're making new bile. So it's just such an easy remedy to avoid fatty liver, insulin resistance, then diabetes. And do the doctors recommend this? No. They're in line with the medical field, which wants you to be a lifelong client that has to spend lots of money and use their insurance to get medication, doctor visits, and dialysis, and so on and so forth. So it's a sad thing to say because, we only really got 2 options, capitalism and socialism or communism. 2 options. I prefer capitalism, right? But look at what they're doing to us. They're poisoning us. Like if you take a Coke and you really study, this guy that was on Russell Brand worked for Coca-Cola for years. And he had to accept that I'm in line with deceiving people. And they would tell him to do things that were directly in line with going out of the way to deceive people. So now what do we see with vaccinations? We see kids that are 5 to 12 being forced to take this vaccine or not being allowed in school. That's part of the reason I got out of education and moved to Los Angeles. So we're really have to keep our head on a swivel and be aware that the people in control, the people in power, whether it be in the medical field, the food industry, the media, just about everywhere you look, the people that have power and influence are trying to deceive us. So we need to be smart, watch independent news, find out ways to avoid the doctor's office. And so far as, the state we're in America with high fructose corn syrup, with almost all wheat being genetically modified, which leads to allergies. Why are we seeing such a bump up in allergies with every generation, more and more allergies? Because of all of this genetically modified food. So we have to just accept that we can have no trust in any of these agencies that are supposed to have our best interest at heart. That being said, the gym, taking nice walks, daily walks, whether it be half an hour, but there's a big difference between walking 2 miles an hour, even 2.5 miles an hour, versus walking 3 miles an hour or 4 miles an hour. There's incredible amounts of research that your longevity, once you can get out of walking 2 miles an hour and bump it up to 3 miles an hour or more, your longevity skyrockets thereafter. So isn't it amazing? Such a low impact, simple thing to do as walking can really, really save your life and give you years and years onto your overall longevity. So that's basically what I wanted to say. And I might start posting some videos on health and ways to stay healthy and not to accept what we're being spoon fed, because our interest is not our well, you know what I'm trying to say, right? They don't have our interest at heart. And so if you love yourself and you want to take good care of yourself, you have to avoid the middle section of the supermarket. All the things around the edges of the supermarket, the meats, the produce, you want to go there. And I can't afford organic, so I just wash stuff when I get home. But I'm now like 40 hours into a fast. All I've had is a pickle and some of this lemon water with vinegar, apple cider vinegar. So, and I'm not even hungry. And so my whole life until just last night and the night before, only last night was the first time I ever went all day without food and actually climbed into bed with no food that whole day. Because I was always convinced that you have to get food in, you have to keep this engine going, and it's wrong. It's a bunch of BS. So I was eating 3 meals a day when I found out over the last couple of weeks that I get by just fine on 1 meal a day. But even then, with 1 meal a day, I wasn't dropping weight. So what does that tell me? That tells me something's wrong with my system, right? And so that's why I'm doing the longer fast with this lemon water, apple cider vinegar, to get my liver back in shape, which then gets your kidneys to function better, which means removing that bile and using the cholesterol to replace the bile. So, big research and big great things are being done with the carnivore diet. So that kind of falls in line with the keto diet, high fat, high protein, low carbs. Because, I could go on and on about this, but I'll save some of that for later videos. But God bless. I hope this resounded with someone, resonated with someone, and I'm just really motivated to whip myself back into shape. And I've been this way at least 2 or 3 times in my life in the past. And when I get motivated to get in shape, it happens. And it gives you motivation. It gives you a sense of purpose in your life. And so I'm grabbing onto this. What better time than Lent, when we're supposed to be fasting anyways. So come along for the ride. I'm going to try to motivate a few people as we go. And I'll be talking to you later. Adios, amigos.